The fog clung to Marrow Hollow like a shroud, muffling the world beyond the crooked street lamps. Emma Hartley stood before the sagging Victorian house on Marrow Lane, its warped clobbards peeling like dead skin. She clutched her sketchbook, her only tether to normalcy since her sister's death 6 months ago. The air smelled of damp earth and something sharper rotting wood, maybe, or the faint tang of iron. Her boots crunched on the gravel path, each step heavier than the last. She'd inherited this place from her estranged Aunt Clara, a woman she barely remembered. The lawyer's letter had been curt. The house is yours. Sell it if you like, but it's particular. Thick inside, the air was stale, thick with dust that danced in the slivers of grey light piercing the boarded windows. The floorboards groaned underfoot, protesting her presence. Emma's fingers traced the wallpaper, its faded floral pattern curling at the edges. She'd come to sketch, to lose herself in lines and shadows, but the house felt alive, watchful. A faint hum vibrated through the walls, low and rhythmic, like a distant choir warming up. She froze, heart thudding. It wasn't her imaginations. Something was singing. The hum grew clearer, a wordless melody weaving through the house. It wasn't beautiful, not exactly, but it tugged at her, stirring a hollow ache in her chest. She followed the sound to the parlor, where an old music box sat on a warped table. Its brass fittings were tarnished, the lid etched with swirling symbols she didn't recognize. The hum seemed to pulse from it, though the box was still. Emma reached out, then hesitated. Her sister, Lily, had loved music boxes, had died clutching one in the accident Emma still blamed herself for. Guilt clawed at her, sharp and familiar. She opened the box. The mechanism was broken, its gears rusted, yet the humming grew louder, now joined by faint whispers, distinct but human. Emma slammed the lid shut, her breath ragged. The voices stopped, but the silence was worse, heavy with expectation. She glanced at her sketchbook, hoping to ground herself, but her pencil hovered over the page. The house was listening. That night she slept in the upstairs bedroom, the only room with an intact bed. The hum returned, softer now, seeping through the walls like damp. She dreamed of Lily, her face pale and accusing, standing in a fog-choked forest. "You left me," Lily whispered, her voice blending with the choir's hum. Emma woke gasping, the room colder than it should have been. The music box was on the nightstand. She hadn't brought it upstairs. Morning brought no relief. The fog outside thickened, blurring the world beyond the windows. Emma's hands shook as she sketched the music box, its strange symbols seeming to shift under her gaze. She needed answers. The only neighbor within sight was Mrs. Evelyn Tate, a wiry woman in her 60s who lived in a cottage across the lane. Evelyn's eyes were sharp, her voice clipped as she invited Emma in for tea. The cottage smelled of lavender and old books, a stark contrast to the decay of Emma's house. "You hear it, don't you?" Evelyn said, setting down a chipped teacup. Her gaze pinned Emma like a specimen. The singing. Emma nodded, throat tight. "It's coming from a music box, I think." Evelyn's face darkened. "That house has always been wrong. Your Aunt Clara, She meddled with things she shouldn't have. Collected oddities, cursed things. Some say that music box was her favorite, said it spoke to her. Evelyn leaned closer, her voice dropping. The choir isn't just sound, it's them, the ones who never left. Emma's stomach twisted. Who? The lost, the angry. Marrow Hollow's got a history of folks disappearing, miners, mostly, back when the coal seams ran dry. Some say they're still here, trapped in that house. Clara thought she could talk to them. Evelyn's fingers tightened around her cup. She stopped coming outside, near the end, just sat with that box, humming along. Emma wanted to dismiss it as superstition, but the memory of the voices, those whispers, clung to her. She thanked Evelyn and returned to the house, the fog swallowing her steps. The music box was still upstairs, exactly where she'd left it. She didn't touch it. Instead, she explored the house, finding a locked door in the basement. The keyhole was crusted with rust, but the hum was louder here, vibrating through the wood. She pressed her ear to the door, and a single word hissed through. Emma. She stumbled back, heart hammering. The house felt smaller, the walls closer. Her phone had no signal, hadn't since she arrived. Isolation pressed in, heavy as the fog. She tried to sketch, to focus, but her drawings were wrong. Jagged lines, faces half-formed in the shadows. The choir's hum followed her, now constant, threading through her thoughts. She couldn't shake the feeling that the house knew, her guilt, her grief, her failure to save Lily. Desperate for distraction, Emma searched the house for answers. In a dusty attic, she found a trunk filled with Clara's belongings, yellowed letters, faded photographs, and a leather-bound journal. The journal belonged to a Reverend Thomas Hale, dated 1892. His handwriting was meticulous, but the entries grew erratic. The choir sings without mouths, he wrote. They demand atonement. I sealed them in the walls, but they will not sleep. Hale had been the town's preacher, overseeing a church that once stood where Emma's house now did. The journal described a mining collapse that killed dozens. Their bodies never recovered. Hale believed their souls lingered, angry and restless, drawn to a relic he called the vessel, a music box etched with symbols to bind spirits. He'd hidden it in the church, hoping to silence the voices. But the entries ended abruptly. They know my name. They will not forgive. Emma's hands trembled as she read. The symbols on her music box matched Hale's sketches. She wanted to leave, to burn the house down and never look back. But the fog outside was impenetrable, the air thick with the choir's hum. She felt watched, not just by the house, but by something deeper, older. Her guilt over Lily surged, twisting with the fear that she was being judged. She called Evelyn, hoping for clarity, but the old woman's voice was shaky. Don't open that box again, Evelyn warned. It's not just a box, it's a door. The line went dead before Emma could ask more. She stood in the attic, the journal heavy in her hands. The hum grew louder, now a chorus of voices, some pleading, some furious. One voice stood out Lily's, soft and accusing. Why didn't you save me? Emma dropped the journal backing away. The attic stairs creaked behind her, though no one was there. She ran to the bedroom, locking the door, but the music box was open, its broken gears gleaming. The choir sang her name. Emma couldn't stay in the bedroom. The music box's lid snapped shut when she approached, as if mocking her. She needed to understand the house, the choir, the box. The basement door called to her, its hum now a pulse that matched her heartbeat. She found a rusted crowbar in the kitchen and pried the door open, splinters flying. The air beyond was cold, damp, smelling of earth and something metallic blood. She thought, though she prayed it was her imagination. The basement was a maze of stone walls, carved with the same symbols as the music box. Lantern light flickered, casting shadows that moved too slowly to be natural. The choir's voices were clearer here, layered with anguish. Emma followed the sound to a small chamber, its walls lined with crude wooden crosses. In the center sat a cracked mirror, its surface clouded but reflective. Her face stared back, but her eyes in the reflection were wrong too wide, too dark, like lilies the night she died. She touched the mirror, and it hummed, the voices surging. Flashes of memory hit her, not hers, but others. Men choking in dark tunnels, a preacher chanting in panic. Clara's face twisted in ecstasy as she hummed along with the choir. Emma pulled away, gasping. The mirror wasn't just glass. It was part of the vessel, tied to the music box, binding something ancient and furious. She ran back upstairs, the crowbar still in hand. The house felt tighter, the air heavy with whispers. She tried to call Evelyn again, but her phone was dead, the screen flickering with static. The fog outside pressed against the windows, thick as smoke. Emma's sketches were scattered across the parlor floor, each one now showing the same face lilies, but distorted, her mouth open in a silent scream. The choir's hum grew insistent, pulling at her. She clutched the crowbar, paranoia clawing at her mind. Was the house alive? Was it the spirit? Or was it her guilt twisting her perception? She didn't know anymore. All she knew was the music box, sitting on the table, its lid creaking open on its own. Emma couldn't ignore the music box any longer. Its lid opened fully, revealing a faint glow within, like moonlight trapped in glass. The choir's voices were no longer wordless. They sang in fragments, names and pleas weaving through the melody. Emma, join us. Emma atoned. She slammed the lid shut, but the voices didn't stop. They were in the walls now, in the floor, in her skull. She needed help. Evelyn's cottage was her only hope. The fog was suffocating, but Emma stumbled across the lane, pounding on Evelyn's door. No answer. The cottage was dark, the lavender scent gone, replaced by that same metallic temps. Inside, she found Evelyn slumped in her chair, eyes wide, mouth open as if screaming. A faint hum emanated from her, as if the choir had claimed her voice. Emma fled back to the house, her mind unraveling. The journal, the mirror, the music box, they were connected. A trap set long ago. She grabbed Hale's journal again, flipping to the final pages. The vessel demands a keeper, he'd written. One must carry the choir's weight, or they take all. Clara had been the keeper, and now the house wanted Emma. She tried to leave, but the front door wouldn't budge, the windows sealed by some unseen force. The fog seemed to press inward, filling the house with its damp chill. The choir's voices grew louder, now a cacophony of rage and sorrow. Lily's voice was clearest, cutting through. "You let me die. Join me," Emma screamed, swinging the crowbar at the music box. It didn't break. Instead, the room spun, and she was in the basement again, facing the mirror. Her reflection spoke, its voice a chorus. Atonement or sacrifice. Choose. She swung the crowbar at the mirror, shattering it. The voices screamed, a sound that tore at her ears, but the hum didn't stop. It was inside her now. The shattered mirror didn't silence the choir. If anything, it freed them. The voices were everywhere, filling the house with a relentless hum that vibrated in Emma's bones. She clutched the music box, its weight heavier than it should have been. The symbols on its lid glowed faintly, pulsing with her heartbeat. She understood now. The box and mirror were anchors, binding the spirits of the miners, the preacher, and now Clarande. They wanted her to join them. She stumbled to the parlor, her sketches scattered like leaves. Each one showed Lily's face, but now they were changing, the lines twisting into other faces, men with hollow eyes, mouths open in silent screams. The choir's song was a demand, not a request. Join us, atone. Emma's guilt was a noose, tightening with every note. She hadn't saved Lily, hadn't been fast enough, hadn't been enough. The house knew it, and it fed on her shame. She opened the music box again, desperate to understand. The glow within was brighter, revealing a tiny, crystalline figure inside a woman, her face contorted in pain. Clara, Lily, herself. The figure moved, its mouth opening to sing. The choir surged, and Emma's vision blurred. She saw the mining collapse, the preacher's rituals, Clara's obsessional tied to the box, a vessel not just for spirits, but for guilt, for the weight of the unforgiven. She tried to destroy the box, smashing it against the floor, but it wouldn't break. The voices laughed, a sound like breaking glass. The fog poured in through the cracks in the walls, cold and alive, wrapping around her. She ran to the basement, the only place left. The crosses on the walls were gone, replaced by faces carved into the stone. Her face, Lily's, Clara's. The choir sang louder, a hymn of condemnation. Emma fell to her knees, the music box in her lap. "I'm sorry," she whispered to Lily, to herself. The voices softened, but only slightly. A keeper or a sacrifice. She understood. To silence the choir, she had to take their place, to carry their pain, or she had to give them someone else. Emma couldn't breathe. The fog was inside the house now, curling around her like a living thing. The music box hummed in her hands, its glow casting shadows that danced like specters. She needed answers, not just about the house, but about Marrow Hollow itself. The town felt wrong, too quiet, too empty. She remembered Evelyn's words, the lost, the angry. If the choir was the miners, why were they still here? What did they want? She forced herself to leave the basement, clutching the journal and the music box. The fog parted just enough to let her reach the town's library, a crumbling building at the edge of Marrow Lane. The librarian, a gaunt man named Daniel, watched her with wary eyes. "You're from the house," he said, not a question. His voice was low, as if afraid of being overheard. Emma demanded answers, showing him the journal. Daniel sighed, leading her to a back room filled with dusty records. "Marrow Hollow's cursed," he said. "The mining collapse wasn't an accident. The company knew the tunnels were unstable, but they pushed the workers anyway. Hale tried to save their souls, but he made it worse. That music box, he thought it would bind them, but it only trapped them. They're angry, and they don't forgive." He showed her newspaper clippings, disappearances, strange deaths, all linked to the house. Clara had been the last keeper, but she'd grown obsessed, feeding the choir her own guilt until it consumed her. "The town knows," Daniel whispered. "We stay quiet, keep away. But you're in it now." Emma's paranoia spiked. The town was complicit, letting the house claim its keepers. She returned home, the fog thicker, the choir louder. The music box was heavier, its glow now a sickly green. She saw Lily in every shadow, her voice the loudest in the choir. Emma's guilt was a wound, and the house was picking it open. She had to end it, but how? Emma stood in the parlor, the music box open, its glow filling the room. The choir was deafening, a cacophony of voices demanding atonement. She saw them now shadowy figures in the fog, their faces hollow, their eyes burning. Lily was among them, her expression a mix of sorrow and rage. Emma's guilt was a weight she couldn't carry anymore, but she refused to be the house's next keeper. She remembered Hale's journal. The vessel must be broken, but only by one who bears its weight. She understood. The music box wasn't just a trap, it was a test. To destroy it, she had to face her guilt to forgive herself. She clutched the box, whispering to Lily's shadow, "I couldn't save you. I'm sorry, but I won't let you take me." The choir screamed, the house shaking. The fog surged, cold and suffocating, but Emma held on. She saw the miners, Hale, Clairol, trapped by their own regrets. She wouldn't join them. With a cry, she smashed the box against the floor, again and again, until it shattered. The glow exploded, blinding her, and the voices howled, then fell silent. The fog lifted. The house was still, its walls just wood again. Emma stumbled outside, the morning sun breaking through. The town was quiet, but she felt eyes on her Daniels. The townsfolks, they knew what she'd done. She burned Clara's journal and left Marrow Hollow, the music box's fragments buried in the ash. But sometimes, at night, she still heard a faint hum, a reminder that some debts never fully fade.